Okay, Instagram, goddamn it, TikTok, and my YouTube channel come forever than me too. I am Echo Fang Grey Wolf. So today you're gonna learn the importance of wood. I wanted to put the word wooden weapons, but TikTok's a little suspect on the things you're allowed to say. So before we begin, understand that this is martial arts, and if you are not profound or proficient in some sort of martial art training, the first thing you should know is do not attempt to do anything that you see here. And always realize that I'm going to try to teach you the reality and the truth about shit in fights versus what you see in the movies and TV. There will be many of comparison. I am also an actor, but I was a martial artist first. I am not a well-known actor, if you want to call me an actor at all, because there are levels to acting, and I clearly have not reached the precipice of any of those levels. But I ain't gonna lie about it. So a lot of training instruments are first taught to you. They are made out of wood so that you'll get the feel and you'll learn how to not hurt yourself. Alright? For instance, commas. These are practice commas. They are made out of solid wood. This is why you have that, because if that was a real blade, I just lost my arm. And now you know why this is important to know the usage of wooden weapons. Wooden weapons still hurt if used properly on an attacker. Like if someone tries to bust up in your dojo while you're training and you slap them in the head with some wood, they're gonna freaking know it. Now tonfas, which is not these are commas, but tonfas, they are literally wooden weapons. There are no practice tonfas. What you see is what you get. I want to clarify that before I use my imagination to turn these things into tonfas. I'm probably a lot better with tonfas than I am with commas. But anyway, since these are practice commas, they are made out of wood, and they are made so that you can do this, that, and that without impaling yourself, versus a real comma where the body is wood, but the instrument of destruction is a steel blade. I have silver tape to represent the steel blade. As you see how I screwed that up and screwed that up. With wood, I'm not going to get hurt. With a steel blade and enough momentum, that there can be fatal. See how it comes across my arm there? If this would have been a real blade, I would have cut some veins there, probably bled out before I could get help, which is why you don't whirl your commas. And you will never whirl your commas or your sai. You might whirl a nunchuck or two, but you won't be whirling them in combat proficiently just to be on the safe side, because the second you set up with these things for commas, these are instruments set for one purpose: gouging and destruction. That's it. Block, gouge. I usually say block and strike, but if you're going against somebody with armor, this blocks, that's going to get in there. It's going to penetrate the armor. You got to kick them off and then strike again. Now, if you're just blocking swords, you're going to be in good shape. But if that person's not wearing armor and you block a sword, then you're going to slice, because this is a metal. It's going to cut across or wherever you choose to take that blade. So if they're coming down and you block them here, your hand, this blocks, this strikes. This is my left hand, this is my right hand. For you, it's probably in reverse. So, but if you're southpaw, it's the same concept. Right hand block, strike, strike, or gouge, or slash. Now, when you are in combat, you might block like this, and then this, or this, and then this. But if you do the TV block, boom, you're going to have to kick to get your weapons free, plus their weapons. Sorry, fan's blowing. So when you block, you're going to strike. You're not going to do that because you're going to lose the weapon, possibly be unalived. So proper block and strike. That's it. Block, strike, block, strike, block, strike, block, strike. Those are things you're going to do. You're never going to do this or that. Now you can come into the fight this way. Block, strike, or block and then strike, or block and then strike. Yeah, you can do that. But you're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. You're also not going to do this. Block, strike, strike again. No. you're never going to get the chance. But the importance of wooden weapons is so that if you choose to do this, let me get closer so that you guys can see. You choose to do this, you're not going to impale yourself. I had to go low for YouTube, but because I don't know what the camera ranges are. But if you're going to do that, there's a good chance that in combat, you're going to injure yourself. See how that's right in my arm? You're going to injure yourself. You very well may take your arm clean off, because commas are fairly sharp. But these are wooden practice commas. Now if you're using, let's just keep the commas for a second. I was about to get the chobos. If you're using tonfas, they're wood. So you're already going to know how. Boom, strike, boom, strike, boom, strike, boom. I did that wrong, but you know, it was supposed to be boom and then here. But that's not what I did. So I'll call my own mistakes. You're going to block and then strike out, or you're going to block and strike in. Now again, I tell y'all with tonfas, you know, your outside to inside or your inside to outside strike, those are going to be a comfort thing or a choice. I don't do inside to out if I can help it. If it's the only thing available, yeah. But for me, I prefer outside to in. So when I block and I strike, that just feels better to me versus boom and then boom. Plus, there's a good chance from the inside position, you can hit your own ribs and bust your shit up. So you don't want to do that. And remember, these are practice commas instead of tonfas. As soon as I can buy me some tonfas, I'm going to show you guys how to get down with them motherfuckers. But anyway, block, strike, that's for me. Block, strike, that one's for you. I do not like that strike. It does not feel comfortable for me at all. I'm better with block and bringing it from the outside. Plus, I'll have more range to spin it versus I have a less chance of hurting myself. Where if I bring it, boom, from the inside, you know, you see how I have to adjust my body to get that out? Where if I boom, I don't have to adjust as much, if at all, from bringing it from the outside. Again, this will be your opinion and your choice when you start using tonfas. But you know, jab, strike, that feels better than jab and then strike. And one of my alarms are going off. This is officially 4 o'clock. So again, when you're throwing your jab, boom, that feels better for me versus boom and then that. But you will find out what works better for you when you start working with tonfas. However, let me state this, any weapon that you choose to learn, make sure you are being taught proficiently by a teacher who knows how to use them. Because anybody can just get up and then do this, but if you don't do it correctly, you may do this and hit yourself. Tonfas do not have a stopping point. You have to stop them. See, that's stopping, and it's also, this is a fucking comma, so it's gonna stop. Tonfas is completely round, so it's going to go all the way around. So if you don't know how to stop that sumbitch, you will hit this guy and hit you. And these are like freak accidents in most cases. It also comes from people who have not fucking trained with tonfas. So you need to understand how these things work. And again, I say this in almost every video and damn near every live because no one wants to hear the truth. Most of the time in fights, more things go wrong than they go right. So you have to be aware of that shit, because if you're not, you're going to get fucked up. I know, I shouldn't be swearing. Now these are chobos. These are short sticks, but if you're doing Kali, they're a little bit longer. I don't do Kali, but the principle is pretty much the fucking same. And again, you're not going to do that. You might do this at the beginning, or if you're going to do a ceremony, you know, boom, boom. See, in a real fight, you will never, ever, as long as you breathe and before that fight begins, get the chance to do this. This is great for movies. No, looks cool. Yeah, looks cool. But in a real fight, these bitches don't leave your hand. Period. I don't give a fuck what any other martial art tells you. I'm going to tell you the fucking truth. That bitch leaves your hand, it's because somebody hit you and cracked your shit and you didn't block it. So it's going to automatically come off because pain sucks. But when you are fighting, these bitches stay in your hands. There is no whirling. There is no showing off. None of these side whirls and this shit. Even with Kempo, or Kempo, because it's the same thing. It just has two different spellings. One is Ken, K-E-N-P-O. One is Kim, K-E-M-P-O. I happen to take the one with the M. So when I say Kempo versus Kenpo, they're actually the same fucking martial art. I learned short sticks in Kenpo. Okay? So, block, strike, block, strike, block, strike, block, strike. You're going to learn your blocks and your strikes, but with Kenpo, every block is a strike and every strike is a block. So, you just got to learn how to figure out what goes where, when, and how. This that I'm doing here, you ain't doing that when that fight starts. That fight starts, it's swing for the fences. Because if you think you're going to be doing this, and then that's what's going to happen. And the person with the other two sticks is going to beat your life out. Because, why? Because you tried to be cool. You tried to bust on Charlie Sheen or Van Damme. Speak me. And you see what happened? The stick just won't stay. Even with these gloves on to keep grip, these bitches will still slip. And other thing, most of the time, unless it's part of the uniform, most people don't have gloves for grip. They just go in with sweaty palms and do what they do. Now, another thing that you might want to understand, Kenpo got famous thanks to Jeff Speakman. So whenever you see a Jeff Speakman movie, you be glad and you be thankful because he's a badass. I miss him. I wish he was still making movies, but it is what it is. But, this is about the only time you're going to do that. For the movies, see how I almost lost? See how I lost that one? Now you know why. But also in the movies, you're going to have a stunt team that's going to make you look good. But in real life, this, not an option. Maybe at the beginning, you might have show off the guy, yeah, I can beat everybody, watch this. Okay. Well, I just took a really bad stance. For those who know Kenpo, that's not a perfect fucking Kenpo stand, because this here, I'm not protected. I'm really not. It looks cool, but I'm not protected. You probably want to take a stance more like this, so you have options, versus taking a stand like this, where it looks cool. You don't want to stand like this, because you're off balance. You're going to take your fighting stance, here. It's okay, not 1,000% safe, but you'll figure out what works for you when someone's swinging a fucking stick at you. Alright, so we're going to go to the Sabatu, which is a wooden practice katana. It has many different names. I was told when I bought it many years ago, my other one that's in there, the one that's broken, to get the Sabatu. So this is basically a long-handled katana. If you're not a swords person, this will help you work on your swordsmanship. I still suck at swords even when I practice with this thing, but swords are not my thing. But most people have them to gain their sword practice. If you do a Aikido, you will have a Shiite or a Kendo stick, but it's also for Kendo and Aikido, so you'll have to figure out which one you want to do. But, it's also for the art of samurai. It's going to teach you your blocks, strikes, thrust. You're going to get that. What you're not going to do is this. It looks cool in the movies. It's okay if you're doing that, if you're practicing or training, but when you get down to where you have to fight somebody with these or any sword, the only thing this is going to do is possibly make you impale yourself or unalive yourself by accident. Most samurais, when they fight, they don't do that shit. Most ninjas, when they fight, they don't do that shit. For movies, this is excitement. In real life, I don't give a damn how good you are. You're not going to want to do that because while you're doing this, you're killing energy you're going to need to block, strike, strike, strike. You're going to need to know that shit because if you don't, you're going to get fucked up. Now, think about wooden weapons, especially like swords and stuff. They are designed to be like a sword. They teach you the fundamentals of swords before any sensei puts a real sword in your hand. They better put one of these in your hands first. If not, don't do it. Don't do it. Because just because you see your sensei working a real sword, because he knows what he's doing, doesn't mean you know what you're doing. They need to train you with the wooden sword first. A lot of people are going to come at me for this shit, but I'm going to tell you the truth. This shit right here, that's going to hurt. A real sword's going to cut you, probably severely. So at least a year. I'm sorry, you don't have to agree with that. You don't have to like that shit. But a year before you touch a real sword, this is what you need. At least a year. A year with this and a year with a wooden tanto. That's the mini dagger. Because I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of people pick up a sword and play with that shit. They have no more fingers. Why? Because they were doing this shit. See where my hand's at? Oops. Yeah. This sword is not to play with. This wooden sword is not going to cut you figuratively. It's not going to cut you unless it's in the right hands. For the most part, this thing can also unalive you in the right hands. A practice weapon is just as deadly as an actual weapon in the right hands. And a lot of people who teach martial arts, they fail to tell you that shit. As you know, you can hit yourself with a nunchuck and damn near kill yourself. If you've never hit yourself with a nunchuck, consider yourself blessed. Consider yourself graced. And consider yourself fucking lucky. You might knock off a tooth or something. But a practice nunchuck, especially the wooden ones, they're not practice. Those are real. The practice ones with the foam, those are safer. And they're made so that you do not hurt yourself. I can beat myself with those red and blue ones in that box all day. The wooden ones, my thick Black Panther ones in there, or the ones in my room that I took to high school many years ago, those suckers can hurt you without even trying. Now back to swordplay. The reason why I said you need a year of practice, because people are going to want to do this, because they see all of this shit in the movies and TV. You'll see your sensei practicing this shit. Step, step, step. Practice this shit. Step, slice. Slice. Now this does help your hand-eye coordination a little bit. That's about all it does when you're doing this shit. Got to be able to do it with both hands. But a year, 2 years with this wooden one will get you on fundamental access to what you should and shouldn't do with the real one. Because in the tips of me doing this, if I come down like this by accident and I just stab myself in the leg with a real one, all of this is done. I'm going to be in surgery for a long time. So when y'all see me whip out my katana and I was blindfolded, the first thing I said that this was completely unsafe, because it's unsafe. Now I'm going to tell you some shit that's going to get you fucked up. I'm going to try to tell you some shit so that you don't get fucked up. You need at least a year, maybe longer, until you are comfortable with knowing how to strike and block. This is a block, it's also a strike. This is a strike, it's also a block. You're going to have to learn that shit, and it's best for you to learn that shit on these wooden sabatus and the Shiites than you try to learn that shit the fast way with an actual sword. Because when you're fighting with a sword, you see how my hand is with this wooden blade? You're not going to do that with a real blade, because most of the katanas are sharp on the top and the bottom. Some of them are even sharp on the side. So if you get the right damn katana and you block like this, there's a good chance that the pressure of this from someone else's sword, when they got you down to one knee, they might put your own sword through your hand, which is why you generally do it this way. You're going to block. This is reverse grip, by the way. So if you're going to block a strike and you block this way and you come in and you switch out, which is a hell of a lot easier than you blocking this way, trying to push off, then come down and then come in, it's a good chance that that whole hand right here is gone. You don't want to lose your hand, which is why your hands should not use the non-hilt issue. You should always be holding the hilt with one or both hands. You're not going to block a sword with your bare hand. You might have one of those gauntlet things that might be metal inside of it to help reduce the chances of you getting your arm cut off. But there's a good chance that that knife is sharp enough or that sword is sharp enough to go right through that shit. So you have to be real, real careful at your choice of armor And if you are doing any kind of martial arts that involves you actually using metal or steel weapons, you want as much protection from that weapon as possible so that we can all go home safe in one piece. If your sensei is teaching you sword art without the actual protection for your arms or your body, you should probably go to a different sensei. I'm sorry, I probably just pissed off a lot of fucking senseis, and I don't give a fuck. Because I'm going to tell people the truth, and you're either going to hate me or you're going to agree. And I don't give a flying fuck either way. But the point being made is that if I'm blocking and I'm learning, then I'm learning. But if I'm blocking and then I'm showing off, boom, drop it down. Boom. Boom, boom. You know, if I'm showing off and shit, I better be making a fucking movie. Because if I'm doing this shit in real life, I'm going to lose some fingers, possibly my life. So no, this is why there is an importance of training with wooden practice weapons. You drop this bitch on your foot or something, it's still going to hurt, okay? You miss swing and you hit a leg, it's going to hurt. The pain will eventually go away unless you break something, but at least you'll still have your limb. You start doing that shit with the actual katana or the Chinese broadsword or the saber or anything that can possibly disembowel your ass, you don't get a do-over, okay? If you swing this thing with enough momentum and your arm goes off into the sunset and you can't find it and they can't put it back on, you're fucked. So you're going to have to understand that this is why you practice wooden weapons first. Now, in some cases, the weapons aren't practiced, but they're wood, okay? So, for instance, this bow staff is made out of bamboo. Technically, bamboo is not wood. And now you know why you're not going to do that when you're in a real fight. See how that shit got out of control? It got out of control real fucking fast. And that's what happens in fights when you think you're going to do some shit. Again, in the movies, it's great. And this, on the other hand, 1 second. Sorry, I didn't want bugs flying in the basement. Anyway, you're not going to do this in a real fight. Save that shit for the movies. This is a very big bamboo bow staff. I taped it up real well. Cost me about like 2.5 rolls of black electrical tape. But electrical tape is for grip. As you can see, from there to the end, plus my arm, this bitch gets heavy after a few seconds. So, for those who can do the monkey stick, this is the size you need. I'm 5'3", so in comparison, you can tell this bitch is for a lot of stuff. This bamboo, unfortunately, is not even, so the perching attack is not recommended. But if you want more references for the monkey stick and the training, then you need to go to WMAC Masters and watch Yin Yang Man do his monkey stick routine. Now, if I'm fighting you with this, I got range. I got range all day. Now the thing is, to get to me, you got to be able to get under this stick or over this stick. It's not an impossible task, but you're going to have to put in that work. And as long as I have this, I'm probably never going to have to throw a kick or a punch. I just swing this son bitch until I can. No. So, the good news for you is, this bitch gets heavy after a couple of swings. So if you get through my defenses, it's because I got tired. And that means I fucked up. So if you're going to work the monkey stick, especially a real monkey stick, not this homemade monkey stick out of bamboo, this bitch is heavy. Most sticks are not hollowed out. This bitch is not hollowed out. This motherfucker is heavy. Make no attempt that this is not a heavy stick. After about 3 or 4 of these, you know, I got to work. But you got to work to get past it, because if you look at my extension, now it's off frame. Now it's on frame. So now, I don't know if the computer can get that. I don't know if the damn TikTok can get it. But this thing is like over 6 feet. I'm 5'3". But yeah, that's also an attack. If it gets out of the way, you kick it towards your opponent. But if I'm working this bitch, you know, I'm barely ever gonna have to do any foot thing. You see how I almost got hit in the face? See how that shit works? You're not gonna be doing any of that fancy whirling shit. Now what you see here are convenient broomsticks, mopsticks, and handles of all different kinds. Which, in a dangerous situation, these are no longer tools, they have become weapons. Each one is heavy or light and small. Now most bow sticks are fouled at the ends, so they're like flat like this one. So boom, boom. You're not gonna do a lot of that when you get into a real fight. For movies, hell yeah. You know, click, click, click. So your block would be click, click, click to block that thing coming here. But you see how I did that? That's how you get hit in the testicles. So you probably don't want to do that. You probably want to block, block, and block some more and get out of the way. Now here, this stick is short. So I will probably have to use my hands and feet. Strike, kick, boom, boom, boom. You know, we're not going to be doing any of that. As you can see, it almost got away from me again. And weapons will get away from you. Without the proper training, and with the proper training, weapons can get away from you. Which brings me back to another point. You're not going to do that, but the point is that if you bring a weapon to a fight, and someone knows a little bit more about that weapon than you do, they're going to take it from you, and they're going to beat you with it. Now, very important thing I want to show you before I pick up the rest of those sticks and whirl them, and continue with the reason you practice with wood, except for with bow staffs. There are no practice bow staffs. Bow staffs are wood. They are wooden weapons. A simple wooden stick can do a lot of damage. The main way that I was taught how to catch a bow, besides catching it in the face, was to catch it with the fat of your deltoids or your latoids or whatever the fuck this muscle is. That you catch it here, lock, and take. Sometimes that will work. Sometimes it will not. If the guy on the other end of that stick is pretty much stronger than you or bigger or heavier or have a better grip, then you won't be doing this and take. It can happen, but let's live in reality. First off, that's going to hurt. Regardless, that's going to hurt. But what if you miss and it hits a rib or a kidney? And if it's on this side, it hits a rib, a kidney, a liver. You know, you got to deal with some shit. Now, granted, in a fight, you're not going to feel anything until tomorrow, because that adrenaline is going to be keeping you from feeling all this incredible pain. But understand, the correct way to catch it is under the arm, lock, and take. The problem is, in reality, the reality is, you ain't going to be thinking about that shit when you fight. You're going to be trying to take it with the palm of your hands, which is also a good technique if you have strong enough hands to take it. You know, these gloves offer me some layer of protection, but they only offer me a guaranteed layer of protection from my own swing. Somebody bigger than me, somebody smaller than me, somebody who has a stronger swing, this shit's going to reduce pain, but there's still a good chance that my hands can be broken while blocking like this, because you have yay so many bones in the hand. This one is skinnier, you know, so this is like a speed base bow. Now remember, none of these are actual bows. They are mop handles and broomsticks and shit. But principle is still the same. Now, if you're doing tournaments, everything I've done, you can do that. Because they like when you whirl your sticks in tournaments and whirl your weapons and shit. But they forget to tell you that in reality, that ain't gonna happen. Because whoever you're fighting, they're gonna be swinging for the fences. So you're gonna be block, 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 strike, block, 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 strike. If you don't get that strike off, you're still gonna be blocking. Understand how that works. Which is why, again, you can practice wooden weapons, thrust, strike, thrust, block, 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 block. You can practice that shit without doing this or this. Because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get the chance to do this. Because of that, and because in real life, no one's going to be swinging at you like they do in the movies. In real life, people are going to be swinging at you with bad intentions. So, learning to block from this position is also something that they don't teach nowadays. So I'm going to show you a couple of drop tricks. So, your opponent is swinging this way. This is between you and your opponent. So you can drop and block, and you can strike. Whew, thank God for that, because there's a splinter on here. And it almost got me. You can block, 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 and block, and keep their stick at bay. Boom, boom, boom. Now, it will look cool as fuck in the movies. Alright? In real life, these blocks are great depending on what part of their stick is blocked by your stick. Sticks are not short. Alright? Understand that shit. Let's hope that stays there. Which goes back to what I said. If I'm blocking the tips, I'm in good shape. But if he's all the way in here, I'm screwed. Alright? Because he done got past me with this little bit of the stick. And I'm right here. So, he done swung that stick. I'm holding this bitch with might. But he's still too close. If I block here, he can still bring it down and hit me in the shoulder. See what I'm saying? So I block, boom. Or he goes smart. When I block, he can come back over that way. So you have to understand how that shit works. Because no one's swinging at you as slow as I swung at you. No one. And these are 2 different sizes. I just used this one. And this is a little smaller and a little thinner. So, you know, if I'm swinging and you're blocking, boom, boom, that's okay. But if you have to get it on the ground and you're blocking, you got to remember, you can't let more than like this itty bitty section to my left from where my arm is. That way, that's all of the stick you want to get past if you can stop it. If all of this gets by, you're probably going to get hit. Alright? Understanding getting hit, especially with a stick, being spun at you with an excessive amount of speed and force, that's just going to fuck you up. It's just that simple. It is going to fuck your shit up. Now, the reason why I pointed that out, the importance of training with wooden weapons, is really quite simple. You can stick wooden weapons. We'll have to make a new hole for you. We will attempt to make a new hole for you. Put you back in this hole. Nope, gotta have to make a new hole for you too. Okay. So, also for training purposes, you know, here, 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 here. I don't know how much frame I'm in, but, you know, you're gonna need to understand your placements. A lot of people teach you the triangle step. So here, 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 my triangle's fucked up. But anyway, this is the tip. I can go right, slide across left, or in my case, I was going left and then sliding across right so that you wouldn't be totally confused. I confused myself. But you need to understand triangle is good. You know, you step forward, back right, or back left, and forward, a lot of people teach you the triangle formation. Now, in real life, you don't have time to think about your triangle formation, but your footwork is just as important. So, know where you're going. You got side, side, you got back, you got front. Now, usually you have to understand how these things work. I gotta get another stick real fast. The guy's coming at me from the right, I got him. From the left, I got him. Now, if there's two sticks swinging at me, I don't want to be right here. I want to step back. Sorry about the motorcycle. I am outside. Or block one and block the other. The problem with that is those two guys are swinging the sticks at a rapid rate with a lot of speed. If I am not ready, I'm going to the hospital or I'm going to the morgue. Now, I can do this, but nowhere in history will I personally ever be that fucking lucky. I understand. But practicing with wooden weapons is important so that you get the gist of how to use the steel weapons. Now, as far as I know, there are iron bow staffs. I think they are collapsible and shit. And that's fantastic if you have one of those. But you should probably still practice with a wooden one first. 1 second, I gotta put some weapons up. Well, some sticks. And now for your most important lesson of the day, so I can end the live as well as in the YouTube. Understand this and understand it well. I will probably tell y'all this 1,000 more times before I die. The only real weapon that you can carry into a fight is this thing up here and manifest through this thing here. Forearm, elbow, kneecaps, and foot. And thighs also if you know how to use them. But the reason why I tell you that is because a weapon can be taken from you by anyone at any place at any time, especially if they know what they're doing. All right? So, I don't have a weapon on me right now, but I do. Can you point it out? Yeah, it's snake eyes. No, I take the shirt off, I make nunchucks. I tie a knot in both ends, and now I have a weapon. Now everything is going to depend on my timing and my skills because you have a bow staff. So don't think that you're not going to get hurt. That's the first thing that I'm going to tell you right now. If I tie my shirt into a knot and you have this stick, I'm in a lot more danger from you than you are from me unless you fuck up. If you fuck up, I got you all day. If I fuck up, I'm dead because you have a fucking stick. I understand that practicing with wooden weapons is so that you can get used to using the steel weapons. They build each other so that your training can work and coexist with everything else. But if you don't know what the fuck you're doing, someone is going to take that weapon from you. The only weapon that they can't take from you is you. So don't ever, under any circumstances whatsoever, carry a weapon to a fight. Because if someone takes it from you, they're going to use it on you. And that is the most important lesson that anybody on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or anybody that you guys are following needs to start incorporating in their videos. Yeah, these things are great. You know, I got a bow staff. I'm Donatello. Now I have two. You know, boom, 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 boom. You know, cool. That would look great if I was in the movies. But if I'm going against somebody who's a child prodigy of the bow staff, I'm 48. I know how child prodigies work. They start at 3. All right? And anybody who can beat your ass from the age of 3 to 23 who has stayed committed to this art of ass-kicking martial art, where they know a bow staff up, down, left, right, inside, and out, and they can whoop your ass, why you want to carry a bow staff to a fight? You done gave them range and a weapon to beat your ass with. And you tell me where in the fuck does that sound like a bright idea? It is not. Because bringing a weapon to a fight is it's an automatic death warrant. I'm sorry if I've offended anybody who does martial arts. I learned the easy way of how not to get my ass kicked in a fight. Now, there are many different means and conventional and standard weapons. But you got to understand, you got to find out one way or other what works and what doesn't work. And what works is knowing the fucking truth. First, getting hit by a weapon, or getting stabbed, cut, or impaled, that shit's a done deal. And if they hit you right, it's over. No, if they just wound you or cut you, you're going to be okay if you get medical attention in time. Doesn't mean you're going to survive if you don't. It doesn't mean you're going to die if you don't. But if you're wounded in an artery or some shit and you're going to bleed out within 2 to 5 minutes, you're fucked. No, understand that shit. And for every martial artist that is watching that do not agree, hey, I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to keep everybody safe. Because I'm going to tell them the truth, which we should all be doing. If you're going to be a TikTok martial artist or a YouTuber or whatever, because I don't have a lot of followers, it's probably because I tell the truth. I can't do the exciting shit I did in my 20s. You can go see that on Kung Fu Havoc #1. My 20s and my 30s. You can go watch that shit. I still have plenty of stuff that I need to put up here, but I don't have the technology or the ability to do so. I hope to do that before I die. But the point being made is I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys some shit that ain't going to work. Alright? I'm going to tell you shit that should work, but you need to have the training also. I've been doing martial arts since I was 7. I'm 48 years old. You do not have to take my word for it. You do not have to believe me. Warning, not invitation. Do not come all the way across town to prove that you are a badass. Do not drive all the way across state to prove that you are a badass, because things never work out the way they work out in your head. Understand that shit. You push the right button on the right person and they'll push you back. And not only will they push you back, they'll push through you. So you have to understand that shit. Online threats, don't do it. You're just wasting your time. That's energy that you could be using for something else. But understand this, as my nose is running and I need to blow it, so I'll just whip out the tissue and make the honk sound, so it sounds like a horn honking. Understand this and understand it well. There's 2 peoples that you shouldn't follow. One is a false prophet. The other one is a truth teller. Why did I say that? Because the truth hurts. False prophet will get you fucked up. A truth teller is there to prevent you from getting fucked up. But most people will follow the prophet before they follow the truth. And I will tell you everything I showed you. I can guarantee you, it will work if you are trained. It will work if you are in the movies and your stunt team is trained proficiently to make it look good. Okay? So I'm the star, and I'm swinging low, and your job is to one-hand cartwheel over that shit. See how I fucked it up and put my other hand down? We're going to go over that scene 20 times. And that director and that editor are going to watch that shit 15,000 times and put the best clip in that film, making me look fucking awesome. Alright? They're going to make the other actor look fucking awesome. The stunt team, the lackeys are going to come in, they're going to do their thing, they're going to take their dives and their bumps, and everybody's going to go home, hopefully safe and alive, and well. Now, in real life, as a martial artist, I'm going to tell you right now, do not try to cartwheel over a fucking foot sweep, especially if you're going against someone who knows capoeira. Because if they're foot sweeping, they can turn that foot sweep straight into a cartwheel kick. So, understand that you need to be well-rounded in more than one martial art. Don't get the hype believing of all fights go to the ground. Do not get into the hype about how much size matters. No, it doesn't. Your skill level is really the only thing that's going to count. Because, I posted a video on TikTok, so I'm going to go ahead and end the live in a minute. And I'm going to end the YouTube because I'm pretty sure it's about done. 2 things when it comes to size. Everybody's bigger than me. I'm 5'3". I don't have to win by beating you. But if you ain't breathing, you ain't winning either. And I don't have to beat you to kill you, or excuse me, I don't have to beat you to unalive you. But to be honest, if you think because you are 6'9" or 7 feet tall and you think you are invincible, the lesson in that is everybody's always hollering, fuck around and find out, and then you will. But the thing is, size means nothing in a fight. Your experience, your skill set, and how much you put in. If you got a black belt within 2 years, yay. If you got it doing tournaments, yay. I'm not saying you haven't earned it, but understand the difference between combat in the street and understand the difference between combat in a tournament and understand the difference between combat in a fucking UFC or an MMA ring. All three of those are different combats, all right? Those are three different combats. They all look the same, when you look at the movies. All the movies look the same. But understand, in reality, when you are fighting in the streets, there are no weight classes. Your size does not fucking matter. Because that guy that's bigger than you, he doesn't give a fuck if you got a black belt. He doesn't give a fuck if you're a BJJ awesome motherfucker while you're in the gym. This ain't the gym. And the same thing if you're an MMA or a UFC champion or a WWE champion. These people in the fucking streets don't give a flying fuck about those goddamn belts. Understand, a belt, I got one too. Holds my pants up very well. If I take it off properly like I was taught in the Army, this belt buckle can become a dangerous instrument of destruction. But since I already know how to use my hands, I don't need to take my belt off. But understand, it can be done. My t-shirt, everything that I tell you that can be made into a weapon is because it's the fucking truth. Now, me being able to use it, also the truth. However, I don't know what you can do until the fight starts. Which goes back to size doesn't matter. A lot of guys that are big are not just big up here and big in the britches. They don't think about the possibility of losing to someone as small as me. They don't think that shit's possible. First rule of martial arts. First motherfucking rule. Don't judge a book by its cover. Never look at somebody and assume that you can beat their ass. Because that'll be the day that you get your ass beat. And it doesn't matter if that guy's bigger than you or smaller than you. The second that you think that guy can't fight or can't whoop your ass, that's going to be the day that you fucked around and found out. That being said, I'm Echo Fan Grey Wolf. I am ending this YouTube and I am ending this live. And if I've offended anybody, I apologize profusely. Yes, I got to end the YouTube because that battery's in the fucking red.